Hello and welcome to the finale of 1984 Collector's Edition. So I'm here with our final two of Carson and Kaylee, and our jury, nine people that they had a hand in voting out of this game, that they now must convince to give them the win. So we're going to start off with our opening statements. Each of our final two will get 7 minutes to give their opening statement. After that, we'll give 7 minutes to each of our jurors to do with what they please. And then each finalist will get a 2 minute closer, and then we will vote. As the winner of part three, Kaylee got to choose the order of who goes first. In the openings, the opposite would happen for closings, and Kaylee has chosen to have Carson go first. So Carson, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. I'm going to put 3.5 minute and 1 minute reminders in the Zoom chat for everybody. You may begin whenever you're ready, Carson.
Okay, hi everyone. I have a lot to say, and I don't know if 7 minutes is enough time for that, so I'm gonna try my best, but I'll probably be talking quickly, so I apologize. First and foremost, I just want to thank you all for such a fun season. I know it was a lot, but I personally had a lot of fun getting to know all of you, and I know regardless of the outcome tonight, the season is gonna have a really strong winner, which makes me very happy. My goal tonight is to take full accountability of my game. I was a double agent, I was a snake in the grass, I was a villain, and I'm going to share that truth with you all and not deny that in the slightest. So hopefully that is appreciated there. Round one, I came into the game hoping to kind of lay low. And that ended up changing because I realized that house calls were going to be a main source of communication, which was kind of rough with my own personal schedule because I wasn't able to stay up until 2, 3, 4 a.m. And so I actually sort of felt like I started round one kind of rocky. Julia was someone that I actually was very close with. I had never played an org with her, but I did see her around the community previously. And so when I lost Julia round one, that was actually a huge hit to my game. But I wanted to kind of keep that under wraps and not really show my cards there. Round two, I felt like I needed to win HOH because pretty much no one was willing to tell me who Zay wanted to nominate. And so I actually gunned very hard for that HOH. Uh, and I was told by many people that I should nominate Madison, Tina, or Ray because they were sort of perceived to be like, I guess, on the bottom of the house potentially. And I said, no, I'm making a move because I don't feel good about my spot. And so I put up two people who I felt were in a really good spot in the house, which were Allie and Kyle. Luke had divulged to me that Kyle was in an alliance with Paris and Zay. And although the alliance was supposedly not talked in much, it was still a chat that I wasn't in. So I did personally feel a little bit threatened by that. I also had heard that Ali was in multiple three-person chats, and so that's another reason why I chose to put Ali on the block. Now, ultimately, I believe Noah won the veto and used it on Kyle. And so I put Kaylee up as the replacement because I felt like Kaylee was close to Ali and Kyle, and I still wanted to try to take a shot. Ultimately, Ali ended up leaving the game, which I thought was a win in my book because Ali clearly was not happy with me when I made that move against her. But in my eyes, it felt right. Also around this time, I locked in a three-person alliance with Davey and Chris, and the three of us were strategizing pretty much on a daily basis. I felt very good with both of them, and we were able to keep that three-person alliance intact until the final six. Also in the pre-jury, I was able to get the HOH takeover power, which I know caused a lot of chaos. I think round four, when I was nominated against Luke, I absolutely should have gone home there. I had played the HOH takeover, I had won an HOH, I had been on the block twice, I had lost one of my closest allies in Julia, But despite all of that, I managed to stay because Luke had kind of like sunk a hole a little bit. And I also felt like I had still developed strong social relationships that were able to get me past final or past the fourth round, despite all of that like time in the spotlight there. Also, I guess I should note round three, I was put on the block against Tina, but Tina, of course, walked, and so I was able to get through that round as well. Live night was pretty chill for me. I was a little bit surprised by Paris putting up Davy because I also had a four-person chat with Paris, Davy, and Chris. That wasn't talked about as often, but I still felt like okay with it. And so Paris choosing to put up Davy to ensure that Ray went was kind of a question mark for me, and I was like, what? And so that made me kind of reevaluate, like, oh, like, is Paris with me? Like, I wasn't fully sure. Um, but ultimately, we got to jury. During jury, Madison was the first eviction. I decided to evict Madison there because Davy was number one on my trust rankings. And so, unfortunately, I just felt like that made the most sense for my game. I was very grateful to Kyle for his protection there, but I do regret making a deal with Kyle. We had agreed that if we were HOH, that we wouldn't put each other up, and I did end up breaking that deal. And so for that, Kyle, I do apologize. I probably consider that my biggest regret in the game because I felt like you were standing in my way of getting closer to the end. Um, and that was not good jury management on my end. So I do apologize for that. The Noah boot was really wild. There were a lot of powers that were played. I did try to take a shot against Kyle there. Me, Davey, and Chris tried to evict him. Ultimately, the move didn't work out, but that was evidence that I was there to play the game and play the game hard, and do what I thought was best for myself. The next round, I won HOH and touchy subjects, which I think was evidence of the fact that I had a strong read on the game because I understood what people were thinking at that time, which is why I won that HOH. I ultimately decided to put up Paris and Kyle because I wanted to ensure that Kyle left the game. Kyle, you had me hot and bothered for real. I was very intimidated by your social game and your physical game. Um, Paris got off the block, and then to ensure that Kyle left, I put up Zay in Paris's place. And ultimately, Kyle ended up getting evicted. Then Paris was evicted after that, and this is where my game kind of takes a turn. I actually ended up making a three-person chat with Kaylee and Mira, which I think was one of my strongest moves in the game because that got me all the way to final six. When Kaylee and Mira won HOH, I was able to use that alliance to propel myself further. During Final Six, I made a Final Two with Kaylee, which ultimately we're still sitting here at the end. And so I think that that's a testament to the strategic games that we played because it was something that no one would have expected. Um, I know I'm out of time. I still have more to say. I know I'm talking quickly. Um, but yeah, that's kind of a rundown of my game. And I want to take full accountability and own all of my moves. And
Okay,
yeah,
thank you,
okay.
Carson.
Sorry.
You're fine. Okay, Kaylee, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking.
Hi, everyone. First, I do want to start off by thanking production for giving me this opportunity because less than 2 months ago, I had no idea that an org even existed. So the fact that I'm sitting here in the finale of my very first one, I believe is a huge testament to my game, and I'm very honored to be here. So thank you, production. When I had gotten this opportunity, I knew I wanted to play, but I was very nervous because I am someone that struggles with social anxiety, and I'm like one of the biggest introverts that you'll ever meet. So the thought of being on Zooms every day with like 16 new strangers was like very terrifying to me, but I didn't want that to be what stopped me from playing something that I've dreamed of playing for so long. And I didn't. I applied, I didn't let the fear get in the way, and I'm really proud of myself for that. I also want to thank the jury members because while I realized that I'm in this position because of moves that I made, I also recognize that I'm in this position because none of the jury members nominated me, nor did they vote to evict me. I was only on the block once, and it was when Carson was the HOH. So I do want to thank you, jury members, for that, because again, I'm here because of what I did, but I'm also here because of you as well. To touch on my gameplay, I believe that my game was definitely more of a quiet game, so very different compared to Carson's, but that was intentional. I played a quiet game intentionally. That was my strategy going into the game. I didn't want to be this huge threat, but I also didn't want to float either, so I was trying to find a good balance between the two. And something I want to touch on right away is throughout the game, multiple times it was brought up that there was a trio between Paris, Kyle, and Zay. And I was not suspected to be working with them, but I was. I was the fourth member working with them since the very beginning of this game. It was either round one or two that it was formed, but that was my solid alliance in this game. I was loyal to that alliance throughout this game, and also Allie was a part of this alliance too, but of course she was evicted round two, so that didn't last long. But the four of us, we made it very far. We were winning comps. We were in a good position in the game for the most part, at least power wise. And for me personally, no one seemed to really be truly suspecting that I was working that closely with these three. And that was all strategy as well. I did that on purpose. I laid low, but I did still make moves. Again, I didn't want to float, but I didn't want to be this huge threat either. So I tried to stay as neutral as possible. Um, I sort of used what happened round two with me being nominated for like false accusations. I kind of used that to my advantage and I made it seem like that really ruined my game, but it really didn't. I kind of used that as momentum moving forward. I won the HOH literally the week after the round after Allie was evicted, and that was something that I did in this game was win HOHs when one of my close allies was evicted. I did that when Allie was evicted, when Kyle was evicted, I won HOH, and when Zay was evicted, I won HOH because when you lose a close ally, you need to not dwell in that so much. You need to then take control back of your game, and that's exactly what I did. Um, and again, I just tried to remain like as neutral as possible. When they would win competitions, it was really hard to act like I wasn't happy for them, but that's exactly what I needed to do to kind of lay low and not make it seem like I was working that closely. So that was a big theme of my game. We would be up like all hours of the night strategizing. We really wanted to make it to the Final Four together. I really wanted to make it to the Final Four with them, but obviously that maybe doesn't add up to some of you because I then evicted Paris. Like that doesn't make sense. Um, when Kyle was evicted, that was a big turning point in my game because now we were no longer going to be a Final Four at the end. We just lost someone that we were supposed to be in the Final Four with. And not only that, but as Carson mentioned, that was actually the round that the alliance was formed with the three of us, Carson, Mira, and I. And that was the first time in the game that I was in two alliances because I was loyal to that one alliance the whole game, acting like I wasn't working with them, acting like I was a lost puppy in the game and I didn't have people. That was my strategy. And it worked. It got me far in the game. Um, but yeah, when Kyle was evicted and I was in this alliance, I now was balancing two. And when I won the HOH, I didn't put a well, I did put a Carson because even though Carson and I had a deal that we weren't going to put each other up based on what came out the previous round, I was like, I don't know if I can trust Carson. We just built this alliance, but I don't know if I can truly trust Carson. So I did put him on the block. I did break that deal. But ultimately, my target was Chris, as I'm sure we're all aware of. I had been trying to get Chris out for a while, and when the veto was used on Chris that round, it completely shifted what I did. And I ultimately made the tough decision to put Paris up. I won't have much time here to like go into detail, but in your guys' questions, I would love to explain that more, why I made that move, because there's a whole list of reasons why I put Paris up and why I did feel that that was best for my game, even though he was someone I was working with the majority of the game, basically the entire game. There's a reason why I felt that was the move I needed to make, and it ended up working because he was evicted unanimously, so that obviously wasn't something that only I felt was a good move. Everybody else seemed to agree with that as well. Um, but despite all that, I would just say like just because I played a quiet game doesn't mean that I played a weak one. Especially in my case, like I used that as strategy and it got me this far. So it obviously worked. I did not float. I made moves when I needed to. I am in this position right now because I earned my spot, especially these last few rounds. Um, I won the Final Five veto, which secured my spot in Final Four. I won the Final Four HOH, which secured my spot in Final Three. And then I won the Final Three HOH, which secured my spot in Final Two. I did not want to be full on carried in this game, so I earned it when I needed to earn it, and I stayed back when I needed to stay back. And for those reasons alone, I do believe that I played a very good game. I had to act like I wasn't really playing the game at all. People would say I'm hard to read. People would say, you know, you're not a good game player. That was the point. I did not want to make it seem like I was playing a good game. That was exactly my strategy, and it worked, and I'm here today because of it. So, obviously, I know Carson and I have both played great games, and however you vote tonight, that's your decision. But I would kindly ask for your vote because I do believe ultimately that I did play the better game.
Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you both. Okay, it is now time to turn the game back over to the jury. We're going to start off with Madison. Madison, your 7-minute period starts when you start talking. I will give 3.5-minute warnings and 1-minute warnings in the chat.
Hello, I hope you can hear me just fine. I'm on a family vacation at the beach right now, so I'm sipping wine that no longer exists. So I'm just doing wonderfully. But congratulations to both of you. I think you both deserve to be here, and I think you both played a game that deserves to win. What my question will be is, what is something that happened in the game that you wish didn't happen, and how did you overcome it? You can also use the time to finish up things that you didn't get to in your opening monologue. So while you think about that, I would like to say that Julia Brown and I are cousins. We're cousins on our mom's side. We have family vacations as youth together to Disney World. So definitely just wanted to drop that in there because everyone's mentioning things that other people don't know. Julia is my cousin. Thank you. But we'll get started with the question part. Carson, you could go first.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like objective answers, like my two nominees winning HOH back to back, round two, round three, round four was definitely not on my bingo card. But I will say, I think that that was an indication of the fact that I was resilient and flexible. Um, I think something else, just taking full accountability, I know I already mentioned this, but I don't think that I should have promised safety to Kyle, because I don't think that I intended to keep that deal. And that's just me trying to be self-aware and recognize my faults in this game. So that's something that I wish I had not done. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else. I think I wish that I would have gotten on some of the house calls early, round one, round two. I do think that, like, in a way, I was very active in terms of one-on-ones, but it seemed like a lot of the social bonds were happening on those house calls. And so I wish that I had either like gotten on them more or maybe like they had happened less. Obviously, the reason I wasn't on was because of my schedule, but yeah.
Thank you. I'll bring the mic over to Kaylee.
So, to answer your question, I would definitely say that I wish Carson hadn't won that HOH and put Kyle and Paris on the block and then renominate Zay. That put me in a very tough spot where I had to choose between two of my closest allies, and I was nervous that had I voted against one and that person that I voted against stayed, they would be mad at me. It was a really tough place to be in. So it did force me to choose. So of course I wish that like didn't happen, but I am someone who believes everything happens for a reason. And I liked, as much as I can dwell in something, I like to believe that what's a positive takeaway I can take away from that. And Kyle leaving is what ultimately was a big turnaround for my game, to where it kind of opened my eyes up, because I was so like blindly loyal to my four, or like the other three because I was fourth. I was so like blindly loyal to them that I wasn't really thinking, do I actually win against them in the end though? Like, yeah, it's great for us to make it to the end and like Final Four, but do I actually win against them? So Kyle leaving really opened my eyes up to like, okay, my game is shifting. Like we're not going to be the four. And when I eventually won that HOH, I used what had happened to my advantage. And I got out, yes, a good ally of mine, but ultimately someone that I believed I wouldn't have beat in the end. So that is kind of how I overcame something that at first I was really frustrated by, but I kind of used it and flipped it to where, wait, this could really help me in the game.
Very nice. Thank you for both of those answers. And then with my remaining time, I would just like a compliment from each of you about me. Carson, you can go first.
I think it is so badass that you are wanting to be a pilot. As a woman, like that is something that like unfortunately is not very present in our society. So I gotta give you props where props are due. Um, yeah. And
Thank
also
you.
like just the fact that you're like doing kayaking and like all these really exciting like IRL adventures, like
Earl,
yeah, it's
thank you. I appreciate Haley.
Okay, I know I may be a little biased here, but you and I are both freelance video editors, and I know how tough and demanding of a job that can be. So I would say that that's a compliment for you. Is that, I know I don't know much about like exactly what you do with it, but I know the amount of stuff that goes into it. So it's like amazing that you also do that. And also I do want to say like I always thought that you were a really funny person in the game, a very kind person in the game, and yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Best of luck to both of you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Madison. Okay, next up we have Noah. Noah, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. Wherever Noah's at. There we go.
Sorry, I had to turn off my fan in my room. Okay, first off, Carson and Kaylee, I just wanted to congratulate both of you all on making it to the end. This was an incredibly hard fought season, and I think no matter what happens tonight, either one of you is gonna make for a really deserving winner. So kudos to both of you. Um, I have one question for each of you, and then followed by like just a general thing. So for Kaylee, I want to know, other than the fact that you and Carson had a final two deal made, I want to know why you decided to bring Carson to the end over Haley.
Yes, it's a very good question. I assumed that the jury members would question me in that why I would take Carson over Haley. It seems on the outside like why would you do that? I watched the show, like why would you do that? You can probably easily win against Haley. I do believe I could have easily won against Haley, but the reason why I took Carson was because what I realized in this game was I want two people to be in the final two that I feel deserve it the most. I know it is a risk, but it wasn't one of those things where I felt that I 100% would lose against Carson. Had I felt that way, I very well likely would have just evicted Carson there if I felt like I would 100% lose against him. But I do think there is a chance that it could go either way. Still a risk. I guess I'm willing to take risks. But also at the end of the day, if I win this game, I want it to be against someone that was hard to beat because it would make the win 10 times more rewarding to me. So that is ultimately why I decided to take Carson. I felt he deserved it, and I felt if I win, it's going to be 10 times more deserving of a win.
All right, I respect that a lot. Carson, I'm gonna go over to you next. I just want to know kind of what went wrong with the two of us, because I feel like at the beginning we had a really strong bond and you definitely were somebody that I was willing to work with. But then things kind of started to peter out a little bit. And then right before my eviction, you did message me saying that, hey, after this round, if you're still here, like I want to talk. So I feel like there were some ups and downs with the two of us. I just kind of want to know what happened between us there. Was it like just a general distrust, or was it just something where like we weren't good for each other's games? I'm just a little confused on that.
That is a fantastic question. Yeah, it was definitely a combination of things. So, it was you using the veto on Kyle. When you had done that, Kyle and I had sort of like been on like opposite sides of the house. And so in my brain, I was like, oh, like Noah and Kyle are really close. Then because I was close with Chris, Chris told me that you, Kyle, and him had a chat, that you talked in somewhat like kind of a lot. I mean, I don't know the exact amount, but I know that you guys were calling at least. So that was another moment where I was like, I don't know if I can trust Noah fully. Because I think like we had called that one night and you had told me like who you felt good with. And I think you might have said Kaylee. And I was like, that's a red flag because I know you have a three-person chat that's not with Kaylee. Um, but I will say, when it was you versus Kyle, I did want Kyle to go there, and I did try to keep you in the game. And if you had stayed, I definitely would have tried to work with you closer after that.
All right, fair enough. And then this is gonna go towards both of y'all. I have two more things. The first one is compare your gameplay to any other Big Brother player, whether it be Big Brother US, Big Brother Canada, just one name.
In a way, I would maybe this is crazy, but in a way, I sort of want to say Chelsea. She also had no vote. Chelsea from BB26. She also had no votes cast against her. Same with me, and I feel like she played a game where she made moves that, and I know I didn't really go into much detail about this in my speech, but she made moves that bettered her game and like hurt other people's, and I also did the same recently. So I would definitely say Chelsea for my answer.
So, full transparency, I don't watch Big Brother. I'm actually a huge Survivor fan, but I've literally never seen a full season of Big Brother.
Survivor works.
Okay. Um, I would say like Todd Herzog, like someone who like was like social, but also a little bit cunning and like willing to make moves and like cut people, and also kind of fruity.
All right, and then last thing, um, I'm feeling very needy right now and very self-conscious about my gameplay. So just give me one compliment about how I played the game this season.
I feel like for me it's a little bit tough because no, you and I got along socially, but we really didn't chat much game with each other. So it was tough to know like what exactly you were doing in the game. But something I would say is, you were on that block during live night twice, I believe. Or sorry, was it which it might have just been the one time. But either way, you were on the block during two live nights and yes. And I feel like you just handled it very well, in my opinion. So I would say that.
I don't know if this is necessarily like pertinent to gameplay specifically, but something that I really value about you, Noah, is that I feel like you are very authentic. Like you really don't put up this like two-faced, like fake persona, like you're just yourself. And that's something that I think a lot of people in the org community lack. Um,
It definitely works. So you're good there. Thank you, both of you. I'm going to be very keen ear to this. I'm looking forward to what you all have to say. And may the best house guest win. Good luck, y'all.
Thank you, Noah. Okay, next up we have Kyle. Kyle, your 7 minutes starts when you start talking.
Hello. Wait, let me fix my camera. Okay, gorgeous. Can we hear me? My mic hasn't been working recently. Okay, gorgeous. I'll start with Kaylee, you ice queen. I think you played a fantastic game. You made a lot of grand moves, at least in my personal opinion. I worked very closely with you throughout the season. You know, I gave my card to you. You were my number one throughout all of Merge, whatever. And I know you're just incredibly smart. Just because I feel personally like you were less in people's face in Carson, I think everybody can like agree to that. I don't think you necessarily played lesser of a game. You were just able to like hold your like cards closer to your chest. I know Carson and many other people have been like, "Oh, Kyle was social, blah blah blah, blah." Like I will say, like I gave all of my information to Kaylee, so everything I knew, she knew, to be honest. But I would just, based on your speech, love to hear more about your end game strategy after like our alliance broke apart. We'll say like final six and on, since I don't think you highlighted that as much in your speech.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, when you left, again, I was saying that was a big turning point in the game for me. I won that HOH and I had a decision like who I was going to vote out. Obviously, I was targeting Chris. That was my target. And the reason why Chris was my target was because in our alliance, basically all of you, Zay, Paris, and you had came to me and said, "Hey, Chris is going to put you up if he wins HOH. He's going to put you up." And you guys gave me that information. Whereas to my face, like Chris was telling me, "Hey, if you ever win," or sorry, he was saying, "If he ever wins HOH, he's like, you're good with me, you're good with me." And I knew that he was obviously lying because you guys had told me something completely different. My point in saying this is obviously I wasn't able to get my target out that week, so I needed to pivot yet again. And that put me in kind of a tough spot because I had promised certain people deals. Again, it was Carson on the block. I needed to put someone next to Carson. And the people I had left to choose from were Davy, Haley, Mira, and then Paris and Zay. Those were my options. I was in an alliance with Mira and Carson. That was brand new after you had left, and then Paris and Zay, which would leave Haley and Davy. The issue is I told both Davy and Haley that they wouldn't go up. I told Davy he'd be good, and then I had to deal with Haley if I ever win HOH or not going up. So I then had Mira as an option, and then I had Zay and Paris. And Zay and Paris definitely were assuming that I was going to put Mira up. That was, as you know, Kyle, someone that we were considering targeting in the game. This was long before I was working with Mira. I, however, didn't want to do that. So essentially, to answer your question, I realized after you left, maybe I can't work as closely with Zay and Paris anymore. And it was a very tough decision because I recognized that we were not on the same page anymore. I did not want to put Mira up. I didn't feel that was best for my game. So, again, to answer your question, I realized I needed to kind of step a little back from Paris and Zay and do what was best for me. So that was my plan moving forward the rest of the game. I decided no more like just only listening to what an alliance is saying. I'm going to do what I feel is best for me. That was my plan the rest of the game. What is best for me? What's going to help me win the game? And that was my strategy moving forward.
Totally. And just one further question for you. For specifically Endgame, the final five when Chris went, can you explain your strategy there? Because I just didn't hear much.
Yeah, so Mira was HOH, she put up Chris and Carson. I, of course, at this point had my final two with Carson, and I knew that if I didn't win the veto, there was a high chance that maybe I go home. So I needed to win that veto, and when I won it, I could have either left the noms the same or used it, and then Haley would go up. Now, for me, it made sense to use it. One, I had that final two with Carson, but also that was finally my chance to get Chris out, which I had tried to get out two more times before that point. That was the third time I was like, I need to get Chris out. And I felt that had I used the veto on Carson, which I did, I felt that Haley being up next to him would ensure that he finally went because Carson and I would be the two votes to evict Chris. So that is why I did what I did, why I used the veto. It was to ensure that Chris was who went home. Had Chris won an HOH, I knew I was screwed. I was going up and I was probably going. I needed to get him out before he could get me out. And that's why I used the veto.
Ice. Ice Queen. Cool. Thank you for your info. Carson, I don't care if you made or did not make a deal with me. I'm not entitled to work with you and vice versa, but I do feel like I am possibly entitled to a conversation. I do feel at times you purposely did not speak for me for days. So, in a really not so nice way, I'm not going to extend you that same courtesy. I have no other questions, to be honest. I don't want to waste any time, so my segment is over. I yield my time, and good luck.
Thank you, Kyle. Next up, we have Paris. Paris, your time will start when you start talking.
Well, hello. Congrats to both of you snakes for making it to the end. Just joking. I love you both, honestly. This is definitely a final two I would love to see. Kaylee, thank you for taking my advice and not taking somebody to the end because you're scared to lose against them. I think that's a huge point to your game for me, honestly. Carson, you were a scrappy player this entire game. You went through so much the entire game, and you still made it here. So that's a testament to what you had to do to make it here. So, I mean, honestly, my question to both of you is, what does winning this game today mean to you? And I will start with Kaylee.
Yeah, so first off, thank you for everything you said. Um, Winning this game would mean a lot to me. I've been personally watching this show since I was, I don't know, like 13 years old. I haven't seen every season, but I've seen at least 10 of them. And throughout these last few years, I realized I would love to play this game someday. And the fact that I was given the opportunity to play an online version of it is wild to me. Again, I didn't even know this existed less than 2 months ago. So winning this game, not only would it mean a lot because I believe that I have played a great game and I'm a very competitive person, I love to win, but being such a huge fan of the show, it adds an extra layer of it of like, wow, I've watched the show for so long and then I could win my own like kind of version of it. I think that'd be really cool. So it would mean a lot to me to win this game.
Okay. Carson?
I want to echo what Kaylee said. Thank you for the kind words. I definitely feel like scrappy is probably an accurate adjective for my game. Um, yeah, I believe winning this game would mean a lot to me as well. I, full transparency, have been playing orgs for 5 years. I started playing these games when I was 18 in 2020 when COVID started. And I am now 23 years old, 5 years later, and I've never made a final two in the 12 orgs that I've played. And I feel as though I am deserving of this title. I know that my game was not perfect, and I fully acknowledge all of my flaws, but I have grown so much as a player since starting playing 5 years ago. Um, and yeah, I would be grateful to win, and it would mean a lot to me.
Awesome. Honestly, my vote is really still up in the air. You guys are doing a great job during this final. Honestly, great job to both of you. If either of you win, it's well deserved. So that's all I have. I yield my time.
Okay, thank you, Paris. Next up, we have Zay. Zay, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking.
Oh my God, I love it when it's my turn. Well, first of all, I just want to say congrats to both of you. I think you both played wonderfully. I love you both. Y'all are great. That being said, I really, really want to know. I want you to give me at least three people who you think are going to vote for you to win. Starting with Kaylee.
Okay, I would like to say Yuze. We've worked together like this whole game. When you left, I know you told me you were rooting for me, so I would like to think that I have your vote. I would also like to think that I have Kyle's vote. We were also working very closely together in this game. And for a third one, I honestly would like to say that I have Mira's vote, to be honest.
Period. Thank you. Thank you, Carson.
In terms of three people that I think would vote for me, I think Haley would vote for me. I think that Davy would vote for me, and I think that Paris would vote for me, even though he did mention he was not sure who to vote for. When he was evicted, he said that if I was in the final two and people let me get to the end, that he would vote for me.
Oh my God, thank you guys so much. Our compliment train got a little, it was stuck. It was stuck. We ran out of coal for a little bit, but I'm revving it back up. So I'll take my compliments up front, please.
Okay, Zay, I have to say, in the survey thing that we had, there was, who's the funniest. I did put your name, even though in the actual comp I wrote down Mirrors because I also agree that like Mirrors very funny as well. With you, you crack me up. You and I would be on calls late at night. You would be cracking me up. Like you are just a very naturally funny person. Like you don't even need to try to be funny. You just naturally are. So that is my compliment to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I agree completely. Like you are fucking hilarious or frickin' oops, I don't know if we're streaming, but yeah, like you are so comedic. But I will say, I think in addition to that, like you are so mature for your age. Like when you told me that you weren't even 21, I was like, what? And I just feel like you hold your own so well in conversations that like no one would guess your actual age.
It's so lovely to be loved. Thank you both. I really, really enjoyed both of your games, and yeah, good luck to y'all. I yield my time.
Thank you, Zay. Okay, next up we have Davy. Davy, your time starts when you start talking.
Oh my God, where's my camera? Oh, hi. Hi, you two. I am so happy for you two to be in this final two. Um, I want to start off by saying, Carson, we worked very closely together. Um, I feel like at times I was on the outskirts, and I think that like the proximity that we were in, I never felt like I was really like on the outs. I always had like a fighting chance. So I really appreciate the warmth and the amount of relationship that we've had in this game. Kaylee, I want to say congratulations on making it to the finals of your first game. I too accomplished that as well, and it's just like such an amazing feeling. Like you should be so proud. I think that you had a rock star of a game, and I think that no matter what happens, you two are some like all-star players, and you should be very, very proud. Okay, so I think that my question has to do with like being a driver and um like think about like roads and traffics all the way to get to the end of this finale. Okay, so like I do think that both of you are drivers. Like you both were in the power position or like in a position where you could make moves. And I would like for both of you to speak about like what your road was to get to the finale. Like what were some obstacles? Who was in more traffic? Who do you think was able to like cruise on by and who had like a harder time? Like really use driving as kind of like a metaphor for how you got to the spot and why you think you were a better driver than the other person. Any person can start.
I can start.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question and for the compliments, Davey. Like, you know, I love you. Um, so I think my like path to the end started at Final Eight. After Kyle was evicted, I felt like Kaylee and Mira were scoopable. And so even though Kaylee put me on the block, I still like willingly made an alliance with her while I was nominated. And also with Mira as well. And I feel like me being in a three-person chat with you and Chris, and then also Mira and Kaylee, allowed me to kind of be covered on multiple sides, which was especially clear at Final Six when it was all of us and then Haley. I will say, I think, you know, with the road analogy, like an obstacle was that I did not fully clock that Chris, Haley, and Mira were working together. That was news to me until Final Five. But when I learned that, it sort of justified me evicting Chris, who was like number two on my trust rankings behind you, like pretty much the whole game. And then I think the last key part of me getting to the end was Kaylee. You know, like Kaylee used the veto on me at Final Five, and she was willing to take me to the end against Haley. And so I do need to give kudos to Kaylee for being willing to take me to the end. Um, and yeah, so I'm very grateful for Kaylee and I'm very grateful for our alliance. And I also think the alliance with Mira and Kaylee as a three was also pivotal for me.
Okay, hi Davy. Um,
Okay.
let's see, to answer your question, this is such a good question, like giving a driver's analogy. First off, I'm honored that you're agreeing that I had played like a driver's seat role, because it's interesting that I didn't always view it that way, because I kind of intentionally took a step back. Like, I was making moves. I definitely was in the driver's seat at times. I won 5 HOHs. I had to make moves every time I was in HOH, but at the same time, I also laid back, given my alliance, who had won a lot, again, Zay, Paris, Kyle. There were times where they were able to sort of be in the driver's seat. But that said, an obstacle for me was that when they were constantly being put on the block and targeted as a trio, I was like, I might lose them. What am I going to do if I lose my alliance? Like, they're all I have really in the game. So when they would get put up and evicted, like, of course that was a huge obstacle. But then I would take initiative and then win the HOH after one of them would be evicted. And then that was sort of like my pathway to the end of, I need to make sure that people are evicted that I could have a better chance at winning against in the final comps. So given these last few comps, I knew that the comps were ultimately what was most important. I needed to win them, and that's exactly what I did with like the final five, the final four, final three. Like, I won the comps. Trying to think like if there's anything else to add to that. Essentially, just my pathway, the whole game was to make it through with this alliance and not make it seem like I was with the alliance, protect the alliance, make moves that wouldn't hurt the alliance up until I did. But that was sort of my pathway. Not, I guess, a great answer, but it's such a good analogy that I'm honored that you say like I was in the driver's seat, because I feel like I was at times and I wasn't at times. It was kind of like a balance of both.
Yeah, I think when you are playing in the game and you're like in it, it's really hard to be reflective. But like, I hope this isn't your last game. I think that you are gonna be a juggernaut wherever you go, and I hope that like in the future you do view yourself to be in the driver's seat because you were. I am not gonna yield my time. I'm gonna use all of it. Keeping up with this like car analogy, can we shift gears? Can you tell me one thing that you learned about me quickly that you didn't learn in my intro video based on conversations? You have like less than a minute.
I learned all about your very sweet boyfriend who I had not met previously. He is a total cutie.
That is such a good question. I have like no time to think about it. Oh my gosh. What is something that's so tough? Because Davey, I feel like you and I really did not talk that much in the game. Oh gosh, that is so tough. Oh my gosh, I have like no time to think about this. Something that I learned about you that I didn't learn from your intro video. I honestly, I assumed, and you're a fan of the show, right? Like Big Brother. I didn't think that you were, to be honest. That's just the first thing that come to mind. I don't know if that's really the best answer, but I did not think that you were like a fan of the show. And that's something I learned. You mentioned it briefly during the season. I was like, oh my gosh, like Davey watches the show. Um, okay, sorry, I'll wrap that up there.
Thank you so much, both of you. Kaylee, I'm not a fan of the show, but I love Big Brother. Good luck to the
Where
rest.
you
Good
mentioned
luck,
you were.
good luck to both of you. I'll be watching, listening.
Thank you, Davey. Okay, next up we have Chris. Chris, your time will start when you start talking.
Hello, y'all, you beautiful people. I'm so excited to see you guys here at the final two. Yeah, let's just have some fun. Fuck a compliment. I want y'all to roast me Reddit style. I want y'all to make me cry. I want a good roast, a nice old-fashioned roast. I want you to be mean, be cruel, talk about my receding hairline, my weird tattoos, my stupid piercings, whatever you want to do. I want a good roast. So, Carson, start us off. Roast me good. I want a good roast. Fuck a compliment.
Okay. I will say I was a little annoyed that you kept throwing all those challenges. Maybe you didn't, but like I sort of got the vibe that you and Davey could not win shit, whether intentional or not.
Bro, I'm so fucking bad.
No, all love, all love. I'm gonna cut it off there.
All right. Kaylee, roast me good, Kaylee. I need it. I need to cry tonight.
Well, I'm not usually the type to roast people, but the thing that comes to mind is not only numerous times would you tell me like that I was good, and I actively knew that I was not good if you won HOH. You had also mentioned you had a chat with Kyle, and you were like, you spoke with him in a way that appeared that you and I weren't close. I thought it was kind of interesting that you said that to me. You're like, I don't want us to appear too close. Chris, you and I were never close. Why did you think that telling me like, oh, I'm gonna like make it seem like we're not close? We never were close. So I thought it was like very interesting that you said that. I thought it was very funny. Um, it just didn't make sense to me why you said that. I don't know.
Okay, right on. Okay, right on. Fuck the roast. Okay. All right, I guess now I'll take a compliment. Kaylee, you can go first. We'll switch it around.
I really appreciated how like you are someone that includes people. I did mention this to you briefly, but at the beginning of the season, I'd be on like house calls and you'd be on them too, and I'd go to say something, and I felt like it gets tricky on Zoom calls. Like people can interrupt on accident because it's just cameras and microphones and stuff. But you were someone that'd be like, "Wait, Kaylee, what'd you say?" And I noticed you would do that a lot, and it meant a lot to me that you would take the time to be like, "Oh, wait, Kaylee was saying something," and you would include me, and I really appreciate that you do that for people.
Okay, thank you, Kaylee. Carson, give me a good compliment, and then we'll get to some game questions.
Something that I really value about you, Chris, is that you are very family oriented. Like I feel a little jealous because I'm 10 hours away from my family, and I feel like you spend so much time with all the people that you care about. And I just respect that a lot.
Okay. All right, I probably love y'all. All right, now game talk. I want to know what was y'all's biggest regret in this game. Carson, you can start us off first.
Yeah, I mean, I have talked about this before, but my biggest regret was my jury management with Kyle. I knew that I had managed him poorly. So I don't fault him at all for not wanting to vote for me tonight. Um, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I think that's probably my biggest, like, oops.
Okay, word. Okay, and Kaylee, what was your biggest regret of the game?
I would say the thing that sticks out the most is I wish I wasn't so quick to tell people you're good if I win HOH, because then when I would win an HOH, I was like, oh shoot, I have very limited options because I pretty much promised everyone safety. So that I would say that was my biggest regret for sure.
Okay, right on. All right, now a fun one. All right, what was the most fun you had in this game? What's like a moment that just really, you're just like, oh my God, fuck a game. This is just such a good night, such a good time. What's that moment for you in this game? Kaylee, you can start us off this one.
Yeah, so I was on voice chat with Zay almost every night. We would be up all hours of the night just chatting, laughing it up, whether it was a talking game or not. And this year specifically, we were on voice chat during the I don't know if it was the same night, but like when Big Brother premiered in, or no, it must have been before the premiere. Whatever. It was, we were chatting about the new season of Big Brother and like going through the cast and like who we liked and who we didn't. And that was just so much fun because it was nice to, it's like we were still talking about Big Brother, but we weren't talking about this game. We were just having a lot of fun talking about a different game, and just in general, I would say that my voice chats would say were like some of the best times I had in this game.
Okay, awesome, Kaylee. Thank you so much. And Carson, what about you, buddy?
So probably the other end of the spectrum. Kind of funny because it also relates to Zay, but like it has to be the HOH takeover. Like that was just like so fucking funny and so chaotic and like so messy. And I honestly just like didn't give a fuck because like it just I don't know, like it was just like over the top. And yeah, and I had a lot of fun like trying to like deny and like ignore the rumors that it was me. And yeah, very snaky, but very funny as well.
Okay, word. All right, I think I still have time, so we're just gonna have some fun. I want to know what animal you think you were. No explanation, but if you could describe your game with an animal, what animal is it? No explanation. Carson, what animal are you?
A snake.
Okay, snake. All right, Kaylee, what animal are you?
I would say a cat.
Okay, okay, awesome. Okay, all right. I got 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, my last minute, I'm just gonna talk to y'all. Look, this has been a really fun game. Hats off to Prod for hosting such a fucking dope season. I told him time and time again, this cast was fucking amazing. There's no bad eggs. It was really a fun group to play with. I'm really happy for you guys, be at the end. We're gonna see what happens. Best of luck. Great gameplay, great games, great final two, great prod, great cast. Love you guys. Let's see what's up. And yeah, you can take away my last 22 seconds. Good luck, y'all.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, next up we have Mira. Mira, your time will start when you start talking.
Okay, I'll start talking now. I just needed that extra time to be on camera since someone wanted to evict me at Final Four. I'm just, I didn't give you guys any words then because I didn't think you needed them or that, I mean, neither of you were taking me to Final Two. Neither Chris nor Haley was taking me to Final Two. So unless I comped the fuck out, I was going home at 4 or 3. But I like to ask this question at juries because anyone can say why they think they have someone's vote. I want to know why you don't have each juror's vote. We're going to go through everyone, and you have to tell me why you do not have that person's vote. We're going to start from the first juror and go all the way through. So, and we'll go back and forth. So we're going to start with Madison. Kaylee, you can go first, and then Carson, and we'll volley back and forth.
Okay, I believe that I don't have Madison's vote because her and I were not close in the game, and also she was a name that I brought up to Carson to potentially put up on his first HOH. So, depending on if there's bitterness in the vote or not, I think that could play a part that she was someone that I considered nominating, and then to add that we weren't close, I feel like maybe I wouldn't have Madison's vote there.
I think one reason why I might not have Madison's vote is that, to my understanding, I don't know if Madison and I called a single time. If we did, it might have been very briefly, but I'm, just more of a texter, and I just feel like me and Madison never caught each other at the right time, which is partially my fault. But if she feels like I avoided her, then that could be a reason.
Okay, Carson, you're going to go first this time. Why don't you have Noah's vote?
I think I might not have Noah's vote because Noah and I never really worked super closely strategically. We did have a good one or two like fun personal calls, but in terms of a game relationship, we kind of never saw eye to eye until right before he was evicted.
Kaylee?
I wouldn't have Noah's vote because given that I was so close to Kyle when Noah was on the block, he never had my vote there. I was always going to keep Kyle over Noah in any situation. And not only that, but Noah and I really didn't talk much game with each other either. We weren't close with each other at all.
Okay. Kaylee, why do you not have Kyle's vote?
If Kyle is someone that would want someone to win who played like powers in the game, someone who was more out there in the game, then in that sense, I would not have Kyle's vote.
Carson?
I think I don't have Kyle's vote because I did not have good jury management with him and I broke a deal with him.
Okay. Carson, why do you not have Paris's vote?
I don't think I would have Paris's vote because me putting Paris on the block was a blindside to Paris. And so if he feels like that was a pretty villainous move, which in a lot of ways it was, then that would justify him not voting for me.
Okay. Kaylee, I'm so sorry. We're going to have to pick up speed a little bit because we only got 3.5 minutes left.
Putting Paris up also was a blindside to him on my HOH, and he flat out said, like, if Carson's at the end, he's going to vote for Carson. So,
okay. Kaylee, why do you not have Zay's vote?
I may not have Zay's vote because kind of similarly with Kyle, like if Zay is someone that would want to vote for someone that played more of like an intense game, that was not the game I played.
I don't
Okay.
think I would have Zay's vote because honestly, Zay is probably one of the people that I lied to the most in this game between the HOH takeover and then also Zay kept me safe during their HOH and then I ended up putting him up to get Kyle out. So they could potentially feel burned as a result.
Okay, Carson, why don't you have Davy's vote?
I kept my alliance with you and Kaylee a secret from Chris and Davey, who were at the top of my trust rankings from the very beginning of this game. So if Davey feels like I slighted him in any way because of that, then he wouldn't vote for me.
Okay, Kaylee?
The entire game, I felt like Davy and Carson were really close with each other, and Davy and I really were not. So I wouldn't have his vote in that sense.
Okay, Kaylee, Chris. Also, we gotta go a lot faster because they're gonna take me away.
I targeted Chris multiple times. If he's bitter, I can't blame him.
Carson?
If Chris feels frustrated with my decision to evict him at 5, then he wouldn't vote for me because I do think he assumed that I would have kept him.
Okay, Carson, why don't you have my vote?
Mm.
And don't say it's because you evicted me because that's not a valid reason.
No, I think I might not have your vote because you, me, and Kaylee talked about going to 3 prior to Final 5 happening, and I did not honor that by evicting you at 4.
Okay, Kaylee?
During your HOH, you said you didn't want to nominate women, and then on my HOH, I nominated the remaining women.
Okay, Kaylee, why don't you have Haley's vote?
That's easy. She flat out said that she would not vote for me. She'd give it to Carson. Is what it is.
Carson, why don't you have Haley's vote?
Me and Haley were never in like a concrete alliance in this game, so sort of similar to someone like Noah, like if she feels as though we never really worked super closely, then maybe she might not want to vote for me there.
Okay, and then finally, I also want compliments, but you can't say that I'm good at comps because that's boring.
I can go. One thing that I love about you, Mira, is the fact that you are so funny, like arguably the funniest person in this cast. For touchy subjects, I voted you, and I was very surprised when you didn't win. Um, it's so hard to be like organically funny, and you're able to do that. So,
Okay. Kaylee?
I also believe you're funny, but what I would say is I love that you're not someone that's afraid to show your emotion in the game. You seem to be very emotionally intelligent, in my opinion. That is my compliment to you.
Thank you. Damn, look at that. Perfect timing. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to the final juror. I was gonna say have fun, but more good luck.
Thank you so much, Mira. Okay, and finally we have Haley. Haley, your time will start when you start talking.
Hi, friends. Let's start with a compliment. Carson, compliment me.
Haley, you beat your own drum, and it is so fucking funny. Like, I love that you just like live in your own world and like do what makes sense for you. Like, truly, like no filter at times. Like, yeah, you have more confidence than like anyone I know, I feel like.
Haley, in the survey, I voted that you were the most honest person. I feel like you were just real, authentically yourself. You don't care what anybody says. That is my compliment to you.
Thank you. No, I was gonna be mean, but I'm not gonna be mean tonight. I'm gonna be so nice and friendly, besties. I've been taking a shot every time you guys say Kyle or Chris's name, so we shots in. Um, you guys say that name a lot. But anyway, Carson, Kaylee, you guys can just talk. Say what you guys like want to say. Cause it's kind of like the end, so like, I'm gonna just give you guys time.
Do you have a preference on what we talk about?
You can literally talk about anything you want.
Nose goes. Wait, are you asking us to like give our closing statements or to like genuinely like have a conversation?
No, like you guys can generally talk about anything you guys like want. Like anything you guys feel like you guys like need to like haven't said yet about your guys' game. Anything about like I don't know. What you done in the last 24 hours? I don't know.
I have something I could like definitely talk about more if unless do you want to go first, Carson? Either way, it's fine.
It's all you, girl.
Okay, so I'll try to go through this quick because it is a lot, but I do want to explain more in depth like why I did put Paris up because I feel like I basically was just like I wouldn't beat him in the end, but really there was multiple reasons. I felt like Paris was protecting Chris more than maybe he would protect me, and he would say like, "Oh, we'd make it to the end," but I just felt like they were such a strong duo, and because I was trying to get Chris out, it did worry me that we were in an alliance, but like actively having different people we wanted to target. That felt a little bit rocky to me. So that was one reason. I did also suspect, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I really had this like gut feeling that maybe Paris and Zay were really close. And so then when Kyle left, it was Paris, Zay, and I felt that they would take each other over me potentially, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking. Um, let's see, there's another reason why I put him up. I mean, of course, just the fact that he was a very well-rounded player socially, competitively, which is why I felt like I wouldn't beat him in the end. And those were like just a few of the reasons why I felt I needed to make the move then. Yes, it maybe could have potentially hurt my game in the short term, but I at that point was thinking long term and I needed to pivot how I went about my game.
Something that I want to address that is so random, but I know people were talking about it. Is my relationship with Luke. I feel like I haven't really like talked about that tonight, but just like sort of setting the record straight, like I was never in like a showmance with Luke. Like this was a rumor that I kept hearing early on, and like just to be like totally honest, like Luke never brought up any type of like romantic or like showmancy things to me. So I don't know who started that rumor, but it wasn't true. Like love Luke, that's a king, but yeah, just to kind of address that. I know it's kind of like a
Messy
funny.
queen here. You're
Was that you,
welcome.
Haley?
Oh, it was.
Ah,
Love
devious,
you guys.
devious. No, but Luke was really cool, but also very messy. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go on mute.
I guess, and it's like, I guess I hate to bring this up again, but I'm gonna bring it up again just to set the record straight, Carson. I never leaked your noms round two, and I was put on the block for something that I didn't even do. It was very frustrating. Um, again, totally see why it seemed very fishy that I did, but I was genuinely protecting you. Yes, I had my alliance, but you were someone that I actively wanted to like build that bond with in the game. It was really frustrating that that like got tarnished so quickly over something that wasn't even true, but it's the game, it happens. It is what it is. I wasn't like extremely upset at you directly. I understood where you came from with it, but I just wanted to set the record straight. I never said your noms prior to that nom ceremony to anyone. You said Allie and Kyle to me, and I was in an alliance with them. I could have told them, but I didn't, and they all can attest. Like I did not say that prior to the noms because I was trying to protect you. Given it was your HOH, and yeah, I kept that to myself. So then when I was like the scapegoat in that situation, I was like, damn, like that sucks. But yeah, just wanted
I
to.
I will say, full transparency, like a lot of you like leaking to Allie was kind of like an excuse. I mean, I feel like the main reason that I like wanted to put you up was because me, Chris, and Davey felt like you guys were kind of working together. So yeah, I was just trying to take a shot at like a group that I felt wasn't with me. But
That makes sense.
I did think that you did leak it though, so I appreciate you clarifying that.
So I would just like to say congratulations to you too for like making it. And honestly, I'm not mad. Taco Bell was well worth it last night. Like, it was great. So I'm so happy you guys made it though, and like even though I was like a bitter Betty about you voting like Chris out, even though I wanted to go home, I'm over it now, I guess you can say. Besties, guys. This has been fun. Please don't say Kyle or Chris anymore tonight, because I don't know how many more shots I can take. But yeah, if you guys have anything else to say, you guys can take it away.
Chris and Kyle.
Okay, thank you so much, Haley. Okay, we are going to move in now to our closing statements. Jurors, please do not cast your vote yet. Listen to their closing statements. I will give you a chance to vote. Each of you will have 2 minutes. Kaylee will go first, followed by Carson. I'm going to give you a 30-second warning in the Zoom chat when you get there. Kaylee, your time starts when you start talking.
Okay, again, I'm aware that I played a quiet game, and sometimes that can be assumed to be a very weak one, but in my case, it was strategic. I won 5 HOHs and 1 veto. I was only nominated once pre-jury, and I'd never had any votes cast against me, which I think speaks volumes to the game that I played. And in certain situations, I could have lashed out at people. I could have just really totally been out of my character, but I chose not to. That was also strategy. My strategy was to lay low at times, make moves when I felt I needed to, and ultimately just be someone that people weren't considering to be this huge threat. So I played intentionally with those decisions, and I tried to play a balanced game in that sense. And it worked because people were assuming that they were like, Kaylee's hard to read, and Kaylee doesn't have good game. Like, I was just recently told that I wouldn't receive jury votes and I have 0 gameplay. I would not be here if I had 0 gameplay. I will just say that. But it showed that my plan was working. The fact that people thought that I wouldn't, or that I wasn't really playing the game, that was the point. So my strategy worked, and I'm in this position because of it. I'd also like to add, like, back to my whole not lashing out at people. I did feel like, like I had the middle finger thrown at me in this game. I was told F you. I was falsely accused in this game. I felt like I was misunderstood, and I used that to my advantage. I didn't lash out at people. I didn't go out of character, and for that, I believe that not only with my game and my strategy, but being who I am as just a person and player in general, that I do deserve to win this game and can be the winner. Not to mention I'm a huge fan of the show, but don't let that be your one deciding factor. Just I think it does matter that if I win, it's someone who loves the game and will be very grateful to win. But thank you in advance if you do vote for me. No hard feelings if you don't. But I would kindly ask for your vote, jury members. And that
Thank you, Haley. Okay, Carson, your 2 minutes starts when you start talking.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for all of the fun questions. I really appreciate that. And I echo everything that Kaylee said. Like, if I can't win, like, I'm so happy that Kaylee is also an option, because I do feel like she played a very deserving game. That said, I do feel like I have played the strongest game. I have had my foot on the gas pedal from literally the beginning of this game, when I won HOH and did not take the easy route, all the way until Final 3, when Kaylee was willing to take me to the end of this game. Um, I was repeatedly called out. Allie called me out when she got evicted. I was called out during touchy subjects as the biggest snake in the grass, the biggest liar, the person that's going home next. Paris called me out when he was on the block. And yet here I stand, still here, proud of my game at Final 2. And I feel like I've worked so hard in this game. I've literally been playing these things for 5 years, and I've always just gone short by a little bit. And I finally feel like I'm in a spot where, like, I'm at the end and I know that I've, like, done my best. So I would really appreciate your vote. I understand for some of you, you might feel burned by me, but I hope that I was able to take accountability for the villainous moves that I made. Um, and yeah, I'm just thankful for the growth that I was able to experience, as well as my character arc with Kaylee, where we literally went from nominating each other round 2 and 3 to being in the final 2. Like, you can't write a better story than that. Um, yeah, all love. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Carson. Okay, jurors, it now is officially on you to decide who is going to win and represent this season of 1984. When I call your name, you can give one brief statement without revealing who you're voting for. And then you can cast your vote in your production chat. Madison is up first. She is not on the Zoom currently, but she did cast her vote, so I will grab that. Noah, you are up.
I'm just gonna vote for the person who I think played the best game, just straight up.
Thank you, Noah. Kyle, you are up.
I voted.
Thank you, Kyle. Paris, you are up.
Good luck to you both, and Kyle, Chris, Kyle, Chris, Kyle, Chris, Kyle, Chris, Kyle, Chris, Kyle, Chris.
Thank you, Paris. Zay, you are up.
I'm gonna vote for the person whose name I am about to put in my DR.
Thank you, Zay. Davy, you are up.
I only have 4 words. Shut up and drive.
Thank you, Davy. Chris, you are up.
Okay, friends. I love you both. Hello. Yo, I think you both played amazing. And I'm so excited to see you win this game. And best luck to you both.
Thank you, Chris. Mira, you are up.
Congratulations to you both. I'm excited to say that I'm seeing some org players take a turn for finally bringing competition to the finale, rather than just bringing goats along with them. So keep doing that if you guys keep playing. And yeah, my vote is going to who my vote is going to.
Thank you, Mira. And Haley, you're up.
I would just like to say good luck, y'all, and my last shot of the bottle will be to y'all.
That is it. I am going to let in some of the pre-jurors and everybody can come on cam. Give me just a few moments to write down all the votes and we will reveal our winner. If everybody would like to come back on cam, you're more than welcome to.
Ice. Julia Brown.
Y'all, these sunglasses are taking me out.
How y'all doing?
Okay. It is now time to reveal the winner of 1984 Collector's Edition. I have the votes. It takes 5 votes to win. Here we go. Haley has voted for Carson. Mira has voted for Haley. That is 1 vote Carson, 1 vote Haley. Chris has voted for Carson. Davy has voted for Carson. Zay has voted for Haley. Paris has voted for Haley. That is 3 votes Carson, 3 votes Kaylee. Kyle has voted for Kaylee. Noah has voted for Carson. So that is 4 votes for Carson, 4 votes for Kaylee, 1 vote left. Madison has voted for the winner of 1984 Collector's Edition. Congratulations, Carson. Carson, you are the winner of 1984 Collector's Edition. Congratulations.
Congrats, Carson.
Congrats.
Congrats,
Congrats.
Carson.
Congrats,
Congratulations.
Carson.
Congrats.
Guys, thank you.
Carson, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'm just like so grateful, truly. Like, genuinely, I loved playing with all of you. Like, it's just taken me so long to get this. And like, yeah, I'm just like so thankful. So,
I love the shades. I want to be shady.
Okay, well, we are now going to get into some awards for the season. So let me pull up my little slideshow. Here we go. Here we go. And the first award we have is going to be the Power Hungry Award. So my prod team can take it away.
All right, it's your boy. So for this award, we're talking about the power hungry people in this house who was striving to be on top. With the card twist, there's a lot of elements to being powerful. So the nominees for Power Hungry are Chris, Kyle, Mira, and Paris. But ultimately, this award goes to someone that was constantly trying to make sure the cards were on his side. So this award goes to Chris. Congratulations. I feel like you constantly,
Oh
aside from the
shit! What the
cards,
fuck? Oh yeah, I was a little snaky little bitch. I'm sorry, yo. I love you guys all so much. I was power hungry. Thank you.
Okay. The next award is funniest moment. So of course there are so many funny moments, but there's a lot going on here. So going through each of them briefly. So we have Carson finding out his own showmance. I use that term lightly here, and I know it was just addressed during finale, but there was a call where Carson first heard that there were rumors going around the house that Luke was saying that he liked someone, this and that, and you could just see it all over Carson's face. He knew that this was an awkward situation, and that it could have been about him potentially, and that was just an awkward situation. But for those of us on the call, it was quite funny seeing the way that Carson was responding to that. Other one was early on in the game. Sorry, I'm not trying to dog on Carson, but Kyle, as people may know, uses the word gorgeous a lot, just in general. And he said gorgeous to Carson. Carson thought he was calling him gorgeous, and that was just a little bit of an awkward moment there. Other one is Kyle during one of the tasks, the counting task. Kyle accidentally put his number in the house chat, the number that he was currently on when he was typing. And then he had to like make up some like whole convoluted thing in the house chat of what he was doing, and a couple of his allies knew what was going on and they realized what was happening. And then, of course, for those who were there, we have the After Dark where the sex toys got brought out into the open and people were sharing what they had. And that was a time. We did give this award to the After Dark. It was just too funny. It was lovely because it involved most people on the cast at that time. It was so out of pocket and it was early on. Everyone was still kind of kumbaya. So it was a really good time. So that was one of the funniest moments of this season. Okay, moving on. I'm also presenting the next one. Lucky me. We have most paranoid. So, and we hope all this is in light fun, y'all. We're not trying to like dog on anyone. So, when it comes to paranoia, a couple different people had a bit more paranoia than others. So starting off, we have Chris. So Chris, I mean, Chris was kind of a mix of paranoia and also like this massive amount of confidence. Like he knew what he was doing. He knew that he had his hands everywhere. But at the same time, there was also like these elements of paranoia that would come out that he was just like, what if this all kind of just blows up in my face? I could be so delusional right now. But luckily for Chris, it never really did until the round where it all kind of went wrong. Kyle and Luke are a different type of paranoia where they kind of seemingly had this idea that people were always after them and talking about them, even if they weren't. And so with Kyle in particular, um, it kind of came to a head during the round where Kyle went home, where we had the touchy subjects, and Kyle voted for himself, for who the cast thinks is going home next. Now, no one thought Kyle was going home next. No one voted for that, but Kyle still thought that maybe the cast voted for him as going home next. And unfortunately, that was the question that could have sealed that HOH for Kyle. Instead, he got it wrong. Carson got it right, and we know how the rest played out. Luke, obviously there was a lot of paranoia surrounding Luke, and I think we all know because it was talked about literally from the start of it until literally tonight, where Luke got on that call with Carson for whatever inexplicable reason, just decided to spill his entire game, everything that he knew, everything he had going on to Carson for no reason at all, really. Just pure paranoia getting the best of him. So we did decide to give this award to Kyle, actually, because we felt that, and you'll see in Kyle's confessionals, there was just a lot of paranoia that was going on in there on a day-to-day basis. Kyle really had his pulse on a lot, especially in the first half of this season, but the paranoia, despite being in a really strong power position, in my opinion, really is kind of what led to Kyle's downfall because you got that one question wrong during the HOH where you answered yourself for who was going home next because you thought that maybe the cast really thought you were kind of in hot water when you weren't. It really kind of cost you the HOH and cost you the game there. So we thought it was worth mentioning and giving you this award.
Okay, moving on. No one yell at me for this award. We have the Worst Reads award. So I mean, I'm just gonna say it. At least Karma, at least Funeral, at least Orgy, whatever it like, moved to throughout the game. Um, all three of you, like listening to how you guys sat on calls, being like, I have this person in my pocket, this person in my pocket, this person in my pocket. Then there was a clear opposition against you guys. Like Carson, Chris, Davey, from the get-go were against y'all. Like from the get-go. And every single HOH you guys have, you took out someone who could potentially work with you. Um, and so ultimately, we decided to give the Worst Reads Award to Um, go next, honey.
We don't have to show. We don't have
Honey,
to
I
show.
did.
It's not loading for me.
We can
Did
let
it
the
load?
spirit go.
Okay.
Oh, I
Well,
knew it.
Here, I'll stop streaming and restart it because I switched
we
to
did
the.
give it to Zay because Zay it was your most recent like HOH that I feel like was the downhill spiral disaster that like was the reads like you putting up Kyle made no sense in my mind. You like I just don't know, girl. Like you played such a good game up until that point, and then you thought you had pull with other people not in your group, and that was not the case. So putting Kyle up there was a very big risky move. Like he did survive, but like that HOA train was a lot.
I feel honored to be honored.
Okay, next award we have is it just not loading for me? Is it loading for everyone else? Okay.
No, it's slow across the
Okay.
board.
Okay, so the Best Reads Award. So Noah is somebody that I feel like never really had like social capital to do anything in the game, but just reading his confessional chat, his reads of the dynamics were pretty much spot on for the most part. Like he knew the dynamics, he just couldn't do anything about it pretty much. But his like he was very much aware of what was happening. Davey, Carson, and Chris, I will say like you three were the most consistent alliance, I would say, from like start to finish that like had a large chunk of the information. And because you had a lot of that information, you guys used it to your benefit. Like you guys didn't win a lot of challenges, but it was you guys knew where the power structure was, and you guys were not willing to hesitate if you guys were to win. So I think that's why all three of you guys' reads were amazing. Ultimately, we did decide to give this award to Carson because I think Carson's HOHs were like he's shot for the jugular every single time. Like round two, there were so many easy options, but he knew the position he was in and knew that he had to shake up the game. And I do think a lot of other people should have like also not made just like easy noms, and Carson was never scared to do it because he knew of his position in the game.
Okay, the next award we have is Best Confessionals. Now, I will say everybody, for the most part, was super active in their confessionals and their prod chat. You guys made this a lot of fun. You guys gave a lot of insight to your game. But we felt like these four were the four that gave us a lot of information and was continuing to give us a lot of information. And so. I think the winner of this, we can just go to the winner. The winner of this is Kyle. Hi, Kyle. So the thing with Kyle's confessionals is that not only did he give us videos, he gave us content. He is probably the funniest person to watch in confessionals because he would take screenshots of y'all's conversations, like of y'all's video conversations, and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, mother!" Like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with dad." Like it was so fun to watch, and he gave us a lot of insight into his game. So yeah.
There was not a single video, like voice chat I had that I did not screenshot and talk about. Like fully like screenshotted everyone and be like, Mira, this is mother. You know, at the end of the day, I will always support a woman. Like it was all of that, like every time. You'll see.
Okay, the next award we have, I just realized I'm getting like all the negative ones. Like maybe I'm the problem. Messiest player award. Um, so the messiest player we have Ali, who clearly got herself in some hot waters early on when she did make a lot of three-person chats, and I don't think she realized they were like actual alliances. I think she made them with the intention of just talking to people, like in a group setting, which then got leaked to everybody, and then all of a sudden people did not trust Ali. Luke, we already rehashed this. Luke sat on call with Carson and leaked his entire game to Carson, even though Carson had Luke at number 2, I think, this round. And then after Luke spilled everything to Carson, Luke plummeted to like the bottom. Because it was like, oh, why are you just telling me now that I won? And so that also like I feel like set the tone for a lot of the game because Carson did not have a lot of insight at that time, and Luke kind of gave him all the ammo he needed to like make a deep run in the game. And then we have Zay, where Zay, you are so likable by a large portion of this cast, but like how you navigated a lot of like someone would tell you, I'll keep you safe if I win, and you would just take that and run, and then nominating Kyle on your HOH. That was just a mess. That was messy. But ultimately, we decided to give this award to Luke because I think Luke tanked his whole entire game in one single round, and not even just one round, one conversation.
All right. This next award is probably one of my favorite awards. It's the most loyal award. And I love this award because anybody who has played with me, anybody who knows me, knows that I am a loyal individual until the very, very end. And so, Davey, obviously, we felt like you deserved a nomination because you were extremely loyal to Carson, you were extremely loyal to Chris, and you never wavered. I think that a lot of people in this game definitely wavered a lot, and you were one of those people that didn't. Haley, it's no secret that you and Chris were super close. You were very loyal to him. Um, you did speak your mind and you were kind of like outward where you were, but yeah. And then Zay, of course, we just felt like you definitely in that Ali's alliance, right? Like you were set in stone in there. You were like, okay, these are my people. I'm gonna stay loyal to them. I'm gonna, do what I need to do. But in the end, we decided to give this award to Davey.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back. We are at the Robbed Pre-Juror Award. What does it mean to be robbed? It means that your time was cut short. And funnily enough, the three of the people on here are probably the three most active people in the pre-jury chat. So, that being said, first off, we have Ali. Ali was someone who walked into 1984, never playing an org before, and she didn't really know the functions of how the game worked. And that I think she got her game in trouble a lot because she was making chats with people not knowing that they were necessarily being seen as like alliances. Julia, on the other hand, was someone who unfortunately kind of got sniped out of the game like instantly. And I think you look at the narrative that got spun after that week with Carson's HOH and the people that sat on calls versus the people that didn't. And I think Julia's game would have gone a lot farther had that happened like week one. And then finally, Luke, on the other hand, I mean, we've already said so much about Luke. What can you say? Luke's lips sink ships. So that being said, we decided to give this award to Ali.
I do think a large portion on that, just like an additional comment, a large portion as to why Ali got this is because her alliance pretty much won every HOH like after that for the longest time. So had she not gone this round, she probably would have been chilling in a good spot. Okay. We have the Robbed Juror Award. So we have Chris, who I think was the most consistent player from start to finish, who he always had his hands in every cookie jar. There was not a cookie jar he didn't want his hands in. People just told him all this information every round, even though Chris was willing to basically cut anyone at any time. And Kyle, I feel like Kyle was someone who just has like a dominating personality and also is very like social in these games. Mira, I genuinely, and I could be wrong, but based off like what I saw from the jury, I do think you had a good chance to win this game if you got to the end, and just based off how much your back was against a wall and you won so many comps to keep yourself safe. In the end game, you were also killing it. I think you had a slow start to the game, but the second jury hit, you were kind of like on fire. And then Paris, I think, was somebody that fell victim to Chris's messiness, honestly, because I think Paris trusted Chris with a lot of information, and Paris would hop on call with Chris, tell Chris something, Chris would leave it within 5 seconds, five other people would know. And I think he fell victim to this, and if he didn't have those talks with Chris, I think his game would have been a lot more insulated because he did have really good connections, but Chris was just planting those seeds and tanking it a little bit for him. So ultimately, we did give this award to Paris because I do think he was voted for in touchy subject who was most likely to win the game, running the game. I don't remember the exact wording. And then I do think he was in a really good spot, and everything just crashed and burned in one round. And just viewing it from Kaylee put him on the block, that was a shock to us too. Like we thought Kaylee and Paris were going to be loyal to each other, and she put him on the block, took him out, no regrets, did not look back. So yeah.
Ice.
All right, so this next award, I'm actually really excited about this because I think Untapped Potential is kind of nice to recognize people for things that they could have, like it's different than being robbed, right? So it's things that people didn't see, right? Because as production, we see a lot more than you guys do. So Davey coming into this game, some of production actually knew Davey. I didn't know personally know Davey, but knew how he can play. And I think that being wrapped up in that alliance kind of hindered him from being a better player for himself. And kind of goes back to him just being a loyal player. So he was just really loyal to that group. And then Madison, we've seen Madison in 1984 before, and we know that she's a very good player. And I think that had she been able to put a little bit more time into her game, she probably would have gone pretty far. And then Noah. Noah is somebody that I felt very strongly to defend throughout the entire game. Noah had basically knew everything. Like he was getting so much information. I think that he was pushed to the side and he wasn't seen as somebody that could have been picked up. And I think that you guys really missed an opportunity with picking him up because he would have been loyal to whoever was going to take him. And that was one thing that I was like harping on the entire season. I was like, these people need to pick up Noah. Like they need to listen to him. Like he knows what's going on. And you guys can see in his confessionals, like he knew everything that was going on. So this award is gonna go to baby Noah. Yeah, I honestly feel super strongly about this. Like I said, obviously Prod sees a lot different than you guys do. We saw everything, but I just think that had he been picked up by the right people, he definitely would have gone far. Oh, I get to do the next one. Okay. This is most emotional moment. So, we've got Chris's eviction. We kind of put that on there because even though, number one, I was not expecting Chris to be as chill as he was, to be honest. But it was very sentimental. It was very within like emotional range because, like he built a bond with every single person. So I could see how that was like kind of difficult. Noah's eviction, he was very passionate. Again, like I said, a lot of people didn't see what he saw. And so he was obviously very passionate and he was very spot on to what he was saying. And he was not letting go. And then, of course, Zay's eviction. That was really difficult for a lot of people. It was obviously very difficult for Zay. I think Zay put a lot of effort and a lot of work into this game, and he did the most and was like really passionate and really into it. And so, obviously, getting evicted is really difficult when you're into a game like that. And of course, there were some tears, and that's totally fine because I cry too. So yeah, but at the end of the day, we gave this award to Zay.
that was like such like a wholesome moment. Like I'm not joking. I was like driving at that time and like I was like wanting to cry. So it was like a pure moment. It was very pure.
I cried for you, don't worry.
You did, you did. Okay, I have the next one, and worst move. I okay. So number one, we have Kyle taking out Madison. I think this made no sense for Kyle's game at all because Madison had Kyle, I think, number two. Um, and Kyle put Madison up knowing that the right move was to put Chris up. He even like entertained it a little bit and then ultimately like steered away from it. Um, Luke spilling to Carson again. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but like it did tank his game all in one round. Mira throwing the final four veto. Girl, you could have been there. You could have made your deep run. Um, and then Zay's HOH. I like there was just so much that happened. I can't even like put into words of what happened that round because there was so many different factors that went into it. And yeah, but overall, we did decide to give this award to Kyle taking out Madison because I think this set the tone for the rest of the game, high key. And if Kyle used that to take out like a Chris Carson Davy scenario, I think the game would have shaped up to be a lot different. But with Madison gone, it kind of left it like a two-sided game. And then everyone that was like slightly in the middle leaned more toward the other side.
I will say, in the moment, I knew it was not the right decision. I said it before, I said it after. I was like, I should be taking down Madison, but I was like, with all this beef, I was like, there's no way. It's beyond the game, no reason. So I was like, I'll cut it, whatever. But no, I 100% do agree.
Okay, best move of the game. Um, so first we have Carson making an alliance with Kaylee and Mira. I think this, which I do think it was like a mutual thing, like they all wanted it. I think so. I don't want to give like one specific person credit there, but I do think Carson was the one that mentioned it. I could be wrong. Um, but I do think this alliance kind of like dominated the end game. I don't know when it was made, we were like in the prod chat being like, wait, this is kind of like unexpected. Like this is very cute. Like I kind of love this. Carson taking out Ali, I also like this was like a direct hit at that alliance, which I think shaped up a large portion of the game moving forward and left a lot of people in like I feel like this HOH for Carson is the reason why he's here, high key. Like there was so many people that wanted to work with him after that, and he got out someone that was like part of the opposition. Um, Haley using the veto on Mira, I do think like there's credit to Chris in there too, where I think Chris got to use it on Davy, kind of get his hands like scotch free. And then Haley got to take Mira down, which forced Zay to like make an on the spot decision. And kind of like it just was a mess. There like so Kyle went up, created a lot of like drama. There was then he had to play the showdown. Like there was a lot that happened that round that I feel like happened because this veto was used. Um, and then we have Kaylee using the veto on Carson. So Haley and Carson were like or not Carson, Haley and Chris were like an unbreakable final two. Nothing was gonna separate them. And the fact that Kaylee did use it on Carson, I do think was a really good move in that moment. I do think Chris still would have went home, so I do want to give like Mira flowers in there as well. Well, I do think it would have tied 1-1, and then Mira probably would have sent Chris home. Um, so I do want to like flowers to both of them for taking Chris out at that moment. But I think ultimately the best move was Carson making an alliance with Kaylee and Mira. I really think the end game changed drastically after that. Um, Kaylee and Carson were after each other's throats for a large portion of the game, and then like when they came together, it was like kind of crazy, and like I do appreciate that fluid gameplay as well. Like I appreciate being able to target somebody and moving past it for like the greater good of the game. So
I also want to give flowers where it's due to Haley and Chris because I like y'all's not to get on it too much, but like y'all's social games behind the scenes and the way you guys were able to kind of manipulate conversations should be recognized. It's hard when you're like looking for specific moves to like pull out, oh, when Chris did this or when Haley called this person and like made up this lie. Because again, like we're not on every call, like we can't remember everything, but like I do want to give y'all your flowers because like even though y'all weren't winning HOHs and blindsiding and backdooring, like y'all were doing shit behind the scenes. Like I just want that recognized.
100%. Like you guys had everyone trusting you. Like you'll see on the trust rankings after the season, like Chris and Haley were like number 1, 2 pretty much consistently throughout, with like the exception of Kyle flinging in there a couple times.
All right. The next word, maybe. Social butterfly. We love a good social butterfly, right? So obviously, Chris, we all know he was aligned with everyone. And if you're going to be aligned with everyone, that means you have to communicate with everyone. I think Chris did a really great job of getting on calls with people, talking to people, making sure that he was just socially connected because he wasn't winning anything. So there's your dig. I dug for you, Kaylee. Don't worry. So so yeah. And then of course Haley, I think a lot of people underestimated Haley a lot. I think that nobody really understood, like Tyler just said, Haley was 1, 2 in the trust rankings pretty much the entire game. And so I think that that was kind of underrated a little bit. I think that nobody really understood that she was actually putting in the social work that she needed to. Kyle, again, another person that is very social to begin with. It's just his personality, and I think that he used it to his advantage. Definitely aligned with the right people that he needed to, and was able to socially connect with everybody on a personal level, on a game level, and just kind of, do that. And then of course Zay. Hi Zay. Now we all know Zay loves to talk. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that it's no secret that Zay is definitely a social butterfly. He was on calls nonstop. I think he was on calls the most, if I'm not mistaken. I think we have stats for that too. So yeah, I think Zay was just I mean, he's a very social person, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, altogether, or I guess the winner was Haley. Like I said, Haley was definitely underrated. She was very social and nobody was looking at her. Nobody was eyeballing her. They just saw her. Like, I think that people just saw her as like this ditzy girl that was just like on calls, just like laughing the whole time. But she was definitely making the moves that she needed to. She was talking to the people that she needed to. She was using her social capital to get to where she was. So.
Thank you guys.
Also, just on that one note, like I do have like the social butterfly. I do have stats that keep track of how much everyone was on call every round. Zay, you were a contender because round 1 of the game, you were on call for 34 hours in the 72-hour period. And that is not including Zooms. So I'll give you your flowers there. You were talking to people. You were talking.
It's all I know how to do.
Okay. So now we have best rivalries. There are quite a few. So to start with the one that we've again kind of beaten like a dead horse at this point, but Luke versus the house. I'm so sorry, honey. Like love you so much, but like after you did what you did, the house would not stop talking about you day and night. It was like the Luke show. Like it was rough. And even like the next round after that, 10 rounds later, like final four, like people are still like, remember when Luke did that? Like that was crazy. So yeah, it was just like kind of a never-ending thing. But the round that it happened, it was everyone was just like beside themselves, just talking mad shit. Um, Haley versus Carson. Again, kind of mentioned a little bit, and it really is so nice when you see a rivalry kind of turn upside down. So obviously we know Carson put Kaylee up very early on in the game, week 2, and as Kaylee said, she did not leak. She was not the leak there. Carson nominated Kaylee wrongfully. It is what it is. And for the rest of the game, things were very awkward. It really took a long time for things to come together. And I think it was even after Kaylee took out Paris, and Kaylee on her end was like, I'm really starting to trust Carson now. Carson was still in his project being like, I'm sorry, like Kaylee's got to go next. Like the trust isn't there. Like I can't do it. And then lo and behold, I think Kaylee was talking to Carson, was like, yeah, like let's go to the end. And Carson's like, oh, all right, I guess we're doing this. And there you go. Um, Haley and Chris. Haley was like on the very bottom of Chris's trust rankings. Chris was with everybody except Kaylee for a very long time. Kaylee was like the one person that they just did not have a relationship. And if it was up to Chris, he had his like if Chris were to win HOH early jury, he was going to put up Zay and he was going to put up Kaylee. Those were the two people that he was gunning for. He was never able to make it happen. Kaylee got there first. But that was hard. I mean, in all honesty, it looked like Chris was so well insulated for a long time in this game. It was going to be hard for anyone to take him down. So props to Kaylee for that. Kyle and Carson, we saw it all season. We saw it tonight. I think we all know it wasn't going to happen. Like it was just one of those things where no matter how many conversations, no matter how many pitches, which props to Kyle for your pitch when you were on the block and Carson was HOH, like flowers to you for that pitch. It was amazing. But no matter what, it was going to be really, really, really difficult for y'all to get over the hurdles that you had to face. And then you have Zay and Carson, again, very similar. There was very little love lost between at least Karma, whatever you want to call it, and Carson. That whole alliance just really did not like Carson, really did not trust him. Zay'd be sitting there talking shit all night long. He knows it, we know it, we heard it. It was funny, but it was kind of never ending. We did have to give this award to Kyle versus Carson. I think it speaks for itself the way y'all were in the jury chat tonight and on the Zoom. Like it wouldn't be right to give it anyone else. So love y'all.
I also do just want to shout out, like, this honestly just like slipped my mind when we were doing this, but like you guys are so right. Like the Mira and Zay rivalry, like I do agree. Like that should have been nominated for sure. It
Like,
slipped our mind.
hello?
Like,
It
you're gonna
slipped our
tell me that Zay put me up, what, 3 times?
Twice,
And
not
I'm
too
not here.
much.
No, y'all are so right. I completely forgot about that, but like that definitely does need recognition.
This makes sense.
All right. Moving on to the Duo of the Season award. Playing Big Brother alone is fun, but playing it with someone else is even more fun. So, basing off that, let's talk about the 3 duos we have up here. First, we have Chris and Haley. Now, self-admittedly, when we were casting for the season, we had no idea about their friendship outside of the game. So, but that being said, Chris and Haley, both of them only combined for 1 comp win, but both of their vetoes came out at the same night, causing a crazy impact on one of the live nights, and they were both able to get really close to the end game. Next up, we have Kaylee and Kyle. I feel like I always saw like Kaylee and Kyle on call, and they were very close. Like looking into the game, I think if anything, they were a power duo. And at the end of the day, like I remember sitting on the call and like as soon, despite being in a 4-person alliance, as soon as like the noms were finalized, Kaylee was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to evict Paris so it doesn't look sus. But it was obviously she was gonna do that anyway because her and Kyle were so locked in. Next up, on the other half of that alliance, we have Paris and Zay. And I think Paris and Zay had a great relationship And looking at the trust rankings, I believe Zay had Paris #1 throughout pretty much the entire game. So, and I did look at Paris's right before this to check. Spoiler alert, it may have not been the same. But
And it wasn't.
but despite that, they were very close in the game together. And I think after Kyle left, they were kind of victims of what had happened in the house and the house turning on them. And they went out back to back like true best friends. But ultimately, we decided to give this award to two individuals who made it a deep run in the game, played hard, and ultimately, I mean, if you just look at the impact of what happened after Chris went home, I think that speaks for the relationship itself. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I would just like to say we never talked like out the game, but Chris did move back home. He's 2 minutes away from me, so we decided to get together for the reunion. What's up, everyone?
What's up, y'all?
That's so fucking crazy.
Y'all, this is
That's
a
so
gag.
fun.
That's the plot twist.
Got it. Oh my god.
The true duo of the season.
Yeah, I will add
Wait.
too, them being the duo also, when you guys look at the trust rankings, like when I say that him and Haley are #1 and 2 the entire season, it was so boring. But but yeah, they definitely deserve this award for sure.
Where are y'all in Maryland right now? Unless, well, you probably don't want to dox yourself, but DM me because I'm probably not far either.
We're in Hagerstown.
Wait, no. Your exes?
Yeah, we're exes, but we're like besties.
Wait, what?
Fuck up.
This
This
lore
makes
drop
so much
is
more sense.
crazy.
Wait, exes? What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Not besties.
Wait, he's not the kiddo's dad, is he?
Nope.
That was my
my
question,
God.
Loki.
I just
Someone
want to
had to say it.
So
I
I
want to
dated
preface this
right
when we
before I had
did cast.
kids.
We did not
But we
know
dated for
that.
3 years.
We did not know that when we casted them both, and then someone immediately, when they both got revealed in the VL, was like, "Yeah, they dated." We were like,
But we didn't know we were playing the game, so when we got put in together, we were like, "Oh, what's up?"
This makes so much sense because when Chris was trying to answer his question or do something, like it was echoing, and I was like, how is he like hearing this on like a different thing? Like there's a feedback. It's because both of y'all are in the same room. Oh my God.
Okay, getting these alliances getting these awards moving along. I was just reading the next one. Alliance of the season. We had Ali's funeral, orgy, karma. It changed a couple times. Which consisted of Kaylee, Paris, Kyle, Ali, and I miss Zay. Those were the 5 that were in this alliance, and this y'all don't understand. Like they would be up to the ripe hours of like 4 to 5 in the morning, just like keying on call, like all the time. Next we have the Royal Court, which hold on, I need to go look back in my chats to figure out who's in all these alliances.
Girl, what?
You can't remember who's on the royal court?
No, I
Gat.
can. So we have Mira, Chris. No, it's mainly there's one abbreviation here. We have Chris, Mira, and Haley, which was a very strong alliance from start to finish. But then Chris and Mira started having a little bit of trust issues toward the end. They also had just played a game together before this, where Chris really like screwed Mira over. Like what was it, round 2 of the game? So coming in, they definitely did not have the best history, but ultimately, like they were communicating. I think when Mira had a rough start, this was a group that really wanted to pick Mira up and work with them. Next, we have Plot Twist, which was the alliance made at the very end with Kaylee, Mira, and Carson. And I don't know. In my opinion, this was just the alliance that ran the entire end game. Just because it was like
so hidden. Like nobody really expected it. Nobody nobody really saw it coming. And then we have CDC, which is Chris, Davey, and Carson. And this alliance, I feel like, exchanged the most amount of like they got a lot of information and exchanged it all throughout each other, like all the time. Like if they talked, it was like with a game purpose and trying to like figure out what to do next. And I do think from start to finish, this was the most consistent alliance for sure. Ultimately, we did decide to give this award to Ali's Funeral, Orgy, and Karma. So the only reason we did this is because this amount of calls they had in this group was crazy. Like every single day they were on call, like day in, day out. Like it was wild. I would say like honorable mentions for like not even honorable mentions. Like the end game was completely run by Plot Twist, and then Carson, Davey, and Chris, like they ran the game from like start to finish. It was really hard to decide who this award went to be honest, but we did decide to give it to them.
That was the real reason my sleep schedule was a mess. I was up to like 5 a.m. every night talking to them.
Girl, just having a key, like watching Drag Race, talking Big Brother. It was a mess in there.
Literally.
I was so upset to be out of the game just because of the alliance. Like the game, whatever, I got voted out, whatever. But like it was we would call each other family, but like genuinely was getting to that point. In Big Brother, we do get to choose our family.
Beast. What does it mean to be a beast? It means that people get pissed at you when you continuously win competitions. And so we have three of those people right here. Starting off with Kaylee. Now, I've watched a lot of orgs, I've played a lot of orgs, but I don't think I've ever seen someone, especially on their first game, dominate so many endurance competitions as well as Kaylee did. And in addition to that, she had very good notes for the mental competitions as well. So to see someone like that pick up the game that fast and just like if you knew it was an endurance competition by like the second one she had won, you knew you're cooked. Moving on to Kyle. Kyle was a beast, and you know, there's something about Kyle where like I could be wrong, but I feel like he's a competitor. I've played with him before, and he doesn't like to lose. He likes to go out and win competitions. He wants the power, you know. He was almost power hungry. And, you know, I think Kyle would have even more competitions had he not fumbled on the last question. And finally, we have Mira. Mira is someone who, honestly, I feel like had a slow and rough start to the game, being on week 1. Now, I really didn't know what to expect of Mira. I'd never met Mira before. But, you know, as the game went on, it was like a snowball down the hill. It just kept picking up. You just kept picking up speed and winning more and more. And I was like, she's gonna win out. So that had me shook. So without further ado, the award goes to someone who I remember them asking at one point in time, is there a record for getting picked for the most amount of power veto competitions? And we said there wasn't. However, there is a record for winning the most amount of power veto competitions in a single season. So congratulations to Mira.
I did in fact beat that record, just so everyone is aware.
On
Yeah,
on that note, yes, Mira has now broke the veto comp record, but Kaylee has also broken the HOH record. So
Okay,
Kaylee,
plot twist. Look at us.
both of you have broken
That's
comp
honor.
records.
Go, guys. That's
Um,
crazy.
Now, the overall comp record of the series is still 9, but Mira, you did tie the second place record of 7. That was a very long-standing record in 1984 that was only broken a couple seasons ago. So
Didn't
you're
I
you're
win
in
7
second.
vetoes and 2 HOHs?
Am I crazy? I thought it was 7 total. We'll go back and look, but
I was like, I thought I won 7 vetoes.
You won 5 vetoes.
Fuck me, I
Correct.
just must have done. I did too many of them. Y'all just kept
The
fucking
record
putting me
was
up there. I
4.
lost track.
My bad.
But regardless, you have planted yourself as a comp beast in 1984 for sure.
Okay. Next award. This is actually a new award that we really felt we had to mention because the three people right here had such interesting story arcs. And I have to say, for this season as a whole, if if this was like edited episodes like Survivor, where like, we already knew the win, like it would have been such a great story. Like I feel like for these three people from episode 1 to finale, just really amazing stories. And yes, this is just the plot twist alliance, which is interesting. So when it comes to Carson, Carson, you won that HOH week 2. You were not afraid to make waves. You made a big shot. And frankly, I think for us as prod and everyone in the game, we really didn't know how that would pan out for you. I don't think you knew how that would pan out for you. You really just took a risk and you could have easily gotten boot week 3, week 4, week 5 at any point, and now here you are, the winner of the season. And it just was a crazy turnaround that you had there. Not to mention, again, the work that you did halfway through jury to really carry yourself to the end. Kaylee, again, very similarly, nominated week 2, you survived and nominated wrongfully so, but you were able to kind of pick yourself up from there. You won HOH the next round, and you really made moves to get yourself to the end here. There was a time where we as prod were looking at, Allie's Karma, Allie's Orgy, and, you have all these really loud personalities, and Kaylee was not one of the loudest personalities. And so we really didn't know what that meant. And frankly, it wouldn't have surprised us if, at some point along the lines, like Kaylee ended up being like the first one out of the alliance just because she was a quieter personality. It's her first game ever. Like it could have easily happened that way, but instead, you really survived, built those relationships, and then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kaylee, but I think that touchy subjects round where you were voted for who has to do more to win this game. I really think that lit a fire inside you to really do something and change your game for the better. And that's what inspired you, I think, to really change your game. And I think, in all honesty, you did a 180 from the first half of this game to the second half of this game, and you nearly won your first ever game because of that. And Mira, I mean, round 1, you were nominated, admittedly, for not being the most active that round, and you got to work. And you never stopped working from that point on. And there was a while that round for us as prod that it didn't look too good. It looked like you were going to be first boot and Julia was staying. And you did not allow that to happen. You got on those calls, you started messaging, you started calling people, and you put in the work. And you really never stopped. You were social across the board from day 1 all the way until Final Four. You did everything that you needed to do. And again, you really just turned it around from a really not so great place round 1 to making it all the way to the Final Four. And you easily could have made it to Final 3, Final 2, and you would have had a great shot. You really would have had a great shot. So 3 amazing people here, amazing cases. We did give this award to Haley. Just the way that you turned it around, and we saw this shift in you. I mean, I think, to not to say this in a negative way, but that early HOH, I think the week 2 HOH where Carson won, where people had to lie and kind of figure out who was lying. Kaylee, as much as you tried, like to lie, like it was so obvious, like when you were lying those rounds, and I was like, oh God, like this is gonna be rough. Like she's not gonna be able to ever lie in this game. Like I just don't know how this is gonna go for her. And here you were doing, publicly speaking tonight, answering jury questions, giving a speech, and you really impressed, I think, all of us on prod. Just looking at how you were week 2 to now, you really came into your own.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Also just on that topic as well, like your finale performance tonight was actually like really good. Like it was amazing. And usually when people have their first finale, it's like, especially in like their first game, it usually ends up becoming a disaster. But your questions were like very well articulated. Your speech was good. Like honestly, when you gave your opening speech, like I thought you may sway votes, like to be honest. Your opening speech was really good. And you both did good tonight, which usually we cannot say. Usually someone tanks, but you both did really well.
Thank you for saying that, Tyler.
Okay, so next up, each prod member who is here has chosen a house guest that, for whatever reason, they are classifying as their favorite. All of us have our own reasons for why we've chosen these people. So yeah, I am up first. So for me, the last Big Brother org I played, I was first boot. I was out early, but I really kept up the pre-jury and seeing Allie keep up our pre-jury, keep everybody excited. It just made me really happy to see somebody who, even with this being her first game, even with you going out early, you still were involved the entire time, sending us confessionals after you were voted out. It just made my heart happy that even though you left early, you were still involved. And I really loved seeing that.
Just on that note as well, y'all don't understand this pre-jury. Like they had watch parties together of all the HOHs, ceremonies, like evictions. Like they were very involved.
Oh yay, me next. Okay. So my proud favorite is somebody that I came into this game and automatically I was like, yep, that's my person. That's who I want to win the game. That's, the person that I'm like rooting for the most. And honestly, this person did not disappoint me at all. I think that they played a fantastic game, and I think that as a strategic and as a person that is not afraid to make moves, I really enjoyed the fact that this person also did that as well. So my proud favorite is maybe Carson. Honestly, I had you from day one. I was like, Carson's my winner pick. Carson's my winner pick. And I'm not gonna lie, through mid-season, I was like, but I love that you were not afraid to get your hands dirty. I love that you were not afraid to play the game and play it well. And I just really enjoyed you as a person. I loved your confessionals and just everything that you had to say. And yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right. So I want to preface this by saying, like, this is my second season on production. My first time around, I wasn't really around much. I wasn't hopping in calls. But this time around, my favorite thing to do was to hop in call when people would be on camera and they just see my Chucky profile picture and they gasp a little. So that being said, I enjoyed listening to a lot of you guys' conversations. But ultimately, this my prod favorite goes to someone who I see a lot of myself in. My first org was 1984, 5 years ago. So, for an on-camera game. Um, and this person, I just love throwing shade at this person every time I see them on call. And so this goofball even sent me a friend request on Discord for some reason. I don't know why they think I'm going to accept it, but I gave my host favorite to Zay.
You're such a fucking cunt. I hate you. I hate you so bad. Oh my God. Love you, Nolan. Mwah.
Okay, so for me, for those of you who may not know, I try very hard every season to try and recruit people from various sides of the org community, as well as some from even outside of the org community. And I love getting fresh faces in here, people who have never played this type of game before, people who have never played an org at all before. And I'm always rooting for the newbies or the people who are, let's say, again, new to this style of gameplay. And there was one person in particular that I felt some sort of like pride of, I suppose, that I am the one who recruited them and got them to play this amazing game we call 1984. And so because of that, I was kind of silently rooting for them the whole season. And again, seeing their arc from the beginning all the way until the end was such an amazing thing to watch. And it was beautiful, really. That's all I can say. And just you probably know at this point, my prod favorite is Kaylee. Really, I mean, you should be so proud. I mean, I mean, it's like, I think we've all said it. Those of us who are in this community have played for years, and many people, you don't, it takes you years to even get to a final two or final three, let alone win. And the fact that this was your first ever game. You adapted as if you've been doing this forever. Like you were here active. You did what you needed to do. You won these like silly little carnival games we call competitions. Like you did the damn thing, got to final two, and to be here in final two with a 5-4 vote, so close to that win. I mean, you should be so proud.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. Thank you for reaching out to me about this opportunity. I remember getting a friend request from you, and I was like, of course, I didn't know who it was, and I remember blocking you. And then one day I had this like idea. Let me look at my message request. Like I never look at my message request. I was like, let me look at my message request. I just had this gut feeling to check them, and I saw your message, and I was like, oh, my bad. And I unblocked you, and I was like, oh, it's terrifying being a girl in this world. I'll just say that.
No, it's so valid. No, literally, for those who don't know, I found Kaylee by going to the CBS Big Brother Facebook page, and I saw one of her comments, and I went, "She looks fun. She looks fresh. She looks like she'd be like a good time." And I just shot her a message, and that's it. And here we are,
And that's why Zach gets blocked.
and deserved.
Okay. I think I'm next. Yeah, I am next. Okay. So I genuinely do not say this every season. We have some amazing alumni. I've enjoyed a lot of seasons. I would say this cast as individuals is my favorite cast, maybe second. Um, like top 200%. I actually adored so many people on this cast as people and as game players. It just genuinely felt like even pre-jury, like there was no duds in my mind. Like every single person was great. Every single person was here to play. Um, so I more so went with someone that I loved listening to their calls. I felt like they were sneaky, conniving, and that's like the kind of gameplay I look for. Like that's how I play. And I love looking at people that play very similar to me. And this person, when I look at them, I think they play very much like identical to how I play. And I gave this award to Kyle,
I
because
fucking
I
knew it.
think when I play games, I'm very much social on calls, but Kyle's also one to plant seeds and just let them blossom. I like to do that too, and just I saw so much like similarities, and I genuinely like loved watching Kyle play. But I say this with my whole heart. I do appreciate you all, and I loved watching you all.
And we will see each other in Orlando drinking. Thank you.
We'll see.
All right. So I, for one, do not know really what it's like to be a hero anymore. However, I think that these three are a prime example of being a hero this season. Kaylee, as we know, was very mild, very tame. Even when people were yelling at her, even when people were getting upset with her, she was very like calm and just, just being the kind-hearted person that she is. I think that her character has stand out or stood out a lot this season. And I think that's just genuinely how she is. She can't turn it off. Like, like we keep saying, it's our first game. And I think that it kind of shows because as many of us know, when you play games for a long time, it kind of turns you a little bit. And then Noah, of course, Noah, I don't think ever really spoke bad about anybody. He never spoke ill about anyone. He was always very kind to everyone. Just the way that he played and the way that he was trying to be involved. Um, just very like very heroic, I guess. And then of course Zay. I think Zay smiles more than anybody else in this cast. Definitely the energy that Zay brings is very positive, very outward looking, and just always trying to find the better half of things, and rather than soaking in all of the negativity. And I think that's a very strong quality to have when you're looking at somebody who's a hero. And so at the end of the day, we did choose to give Hero of the Season to Kaylee. I think that this is very well deserved. I think Kaylee is absolutely amazing. Just watching her play, watching her talk to people on calls. Yeah.
Thank you, Sky. I appreciate that.
All right. Back with the villain of the season award. First off, we have Chris. I have known Chris for at least like 10 years now. It's kind of fucking ridiculous. I've played at least like 20 games with him. That being said, Chris was what I would describe as a slippery little snake in this cast. He was constantly scheming, and it just shows how many situations he was able to get out of, and he had a lot of power in this game. Next up, we have Haley. You know, if they were a duo of a season, obviously they're more than likely both villains. Haley was someone who I think was very underestimated in the game, and I think she used that to her advantage flawlessly. And a lot of people didn't realize how much power she actually held at many points of the game. Kyle, me and Kyle go back as well. And the thing I want to say about Kyle is going through the Allie's Karma call, when I would be on one-on-one calls with them, I would ask them, so are you actually going to go to the Final Four with this group? And I'm pretty sure most of the people, I know Zay said yes. I'm pretty sure Paris said something like yes. Kaylee probably said yes. But then you look at Kyle, who posted his ideal boot order. And I don't think he had a single one of his alliance in the final two. And I know he had Paris at 8th. So he was definitely looking to cut that. And finally, Paris. I think Paris, I personally didn't see as this big villain in the season. But I think Paris kind of got victimized when this touchy subjects came out. And from that point on, he was seen as a huge target in people's eyes, as someone that's, projected to win the game. And I think from there, it was just a long road ahead of him. But that being said, I will end this award with a quote. Hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. So, without further ado, Chris, I give this award to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a snake. I love you guys so much. No, I had so much fun playing with you guys. So much fucking fun. Sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings, but I love y'all.
I want to address y'all gobsmacked that Carson's not on here, and we can agree to disagree if we want to, and that's okay. Y'all are not going to sit here and villainize Carson for nominating people who were sitting on calls with him, sitting on calls in alliance chats every day, talking about how they couldn't wait for him to be out of the game, how they were going to take him out, how they were lying to him, saying that they were loyal, but they were going to turn around and nominate him the first chance they got. And then when he gets HOH and puts y'all's asses up, you're going to be like, oh, I can't believe you did this. We had a deal. Sorry. Y'all were coming for him first. So that's my opinion. We can agree to disagree.
We gotta
All
amp
three
it
of
up and play the
us.
game, right? Duh. Gotta
It's
make
the
them.
way Carson himself was surprised that he wasn't included.
Girl, Carson was shocked too.
I was like, what? I mean, I lied about the takeover. I had multiple alliances.
This is the same bitch who literally said in the finale that his favorite part of the game was putting me on the block with the power.
Oh, actually, Carson also. I only had 3 alliances this game, actually. So yes.
Well, but you had a 4 with the Alley's orgy, and then
That was the one. Then it was you.
Girl.
And then it was me, Zay, and
Girl,
Kyle.
you were a double agent. Come on now. Don't deny it.
3 alliances. 3.
Now, I legit only had 3 alliances throughout the whole game, and one of them was formed 15 minutes before my eviction.
One of them was formed, and then all 3 of us went on the block around together.
Yep.
Okay. Our final award of the night, and then we'll let you guys talk and ask questions about the game, anything like that. We have our biggest award of the season, our player of the season. So We'll just start off with Carson. Carson, I think, was the ringleader of his like side of the house. I view it as I think Carson was the most integrated and I think had the most power just because he was winning a lot of competitions. But I think in that regard, he also was reaching out, trying to make side deals. He wasn't scared to cut those side deals, but he was still making himself more integrated in that end game. We have Chris, who I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. Chris had his hands in every single cookie jar, and although people were skeptical of him, there was never like a Chris exposed party. No one like was willing to compare that many notes on Chris. Like, sure, there was like little bits of information here and there, but like there would if all it took was one house meeting to talk about Chris, and Chris was gone, like literally gone on the spot. Um, and then we have Kaylee, who I think Zach said it earlier. Kaylee literally had like she was looked at as probably like in the shadows for so long. And the second it felt like jury hit, Kaylee was like activated. Like Kaylee won 5 HOHs on pretty much every HOH. She was not scared to make a move. She was doing like, and I would say I would give the biggest flowers to you had your core alliance, and then that all those people left and you adapted to a whole new alliance. And I think that is something that should be like appreciated, is you kind of like you saw your ship going down and you jumped, you let them fall, as you should. And then we have Mira, who I think from jury onward as well, like Mira was dominating. Like I think Mira was somebody who everyone pretty much liked. Like everybody pretty much liked Mira. Everyone was talking about how she is going to be very likable in the end. Like they feel like they trust Mira. I know Kyle said many times like Mira, like that's my girl. Like I'm never cutting her. And then she also had her alliance with like Chris and Haley, which I think as the game progressed, you just got stronger and stronger. Um, and then, but ultimately, I will say that the winner of this award is going to be Carson, because I think Carson had the biggest uphill battle at the start. I think Carson was on a lot of people's radars and somehow turned it around. And it turned it to a point where, like, at Final Four onward, I really did not see a world where you weren't making the end, to be honest. Like I really thought you had it in the bag. Um, and tonight was like a super close vote, as it was to be expected when we saw the final two. But I think you always had like the upper edge a little bit, just based off your like a lot of your relationships with people on the jury. So you played phenomenal from start to finish. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And like kudos to the whole cast. Like it was so much fun.
Okay, so that is the end of our awards. So we're gonna stop the stream, but you guys are more than welcome to hang out here on the Zoom, talk amongst yourselves over the next couple days or so. We'll give you guys some like the chart and different things like that, to like the voting chart and all that information. And then we also, if you are not in our main server, we encourage you to hop over there. We will keep the game server that you guys have been playing in up for you as well. However, we do encourage you guys to go over to our main server, where we love to hang out and play Connections and Wordle and chat about Big Brother and all that jazz. So you guys will also get a little season chat in there as well. So that's all we have for this season. Once again, congratulations, Carson, Kaylee as well.